A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke, chapter 13, verses 22 to 30. The passage is taken from the Message version of the Bible. He went on teaching from town to village, village to town, but keeping on a steady course towards Jerusalem. A bystander said, "Master, will only a few be saved?" He said, "Whether few or many is none of your business. Put your mind on your life with God." The way to life to God is vigorous and requires your total attention. A lot of you are going to assume that you will sit down to God's salvation banquet just because you have been hanging around the neighborhood all your lives. Well, one day you will be going to be banging on the door, wanting to get in, but you will find the door locked and the master saying, "Sorry, you are not on my guest list." You will protest, "But we have known you all our lives," only to be interrupted with his abrupt, "Your kind of knowing can hardly be calling knowing. You don't know the first thing about me." That's when you will find yourselves out in the cold, strangers to grace. You will watch Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and all the prophets march into God's kingdom. You will watch outsiders stream in from east, west, north, and south, and sit down at the table of God's kingdom. And all the time you will be outside looking in and wondering what happened. This is the great reversal. The last in line put at the head of the line, and the so-called first ending up last. The Gospel of the Lord.
Good morning. Welcome to Coffee with God, and I am Father Joseph Matthew. Today, on the 29th of October, we reflect on the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 13, verses 22 to 30. And we reflect on the theme, striving for the kingdom. In today's Gospel, someone asks Jesus a striking question. "Lord, will only a few people be saved?" The man probably assumed that salvation belonged automatically to the Jews, while the Gentiles would be shut out. But Jesus' reply must have come as a shock, not only to him, but to all of us. Jesus makes it clear that entry into the kingdom of God is not automatic. Salvation is a gift. Yes, but it requires our response, a lifelong struggle, a daily striving. The word Jesus uses for strive is the same root as agony. It suggests a real effort, a struggle of the heart and soul. Here lies a danger for us. Sometimes we imagine that once we have said yes to Jesus, we can sit back, relax, and consider the journey finished. But discipleship is never about standing still. It is like climbing a mountain. Every day requires another step upward until we reach the peak, God. On the grave of a mountaineer, the following words were written: "He died climbing." That is what Christian life should look like. Jesus also wants us not to rest on borrowed faith. Some in the Gospel say, "We ate and drank in your company, and you taught in our streets." But external closeness to Christ is not the same as an interior friendship with Him. We cannot rely on the faith of our ancestors or on the Christian culture around us. God's standards are not ours. Today, the Lord calls us to keep climbing, to keep striving, to never grow content with a lukewarm faith. Let us ask for the grace to walk each day with Jesus, so that when the door is opened, he will know us as his friends.